everyone, welcome back to another week of Supercharged with Dr. V. I believe that living healthier should make us happier and better humans. And so let's get started on week 2 of our journey. This week I'm going to be talking about blue zones. Blue zones are areas of the world where there's a disproportionate high number of centenarians. That's a fancy way of saying there's a lot of people who live to be 100 years old or older. People in these areas of the world live to be 100 years old at 10 times the rate of the average population. So this guy named Dan Buettner found these areas and studied them to see what they did to live so long and so healthy. When it comes to longevity, let's take a look at some numbers. The average life expectancy in the United States is about 78. Take that average for the entire world, 72. And in the least developing countries, it's 65. Now, when they studied these blue zones, they found that the average life expectancy there is 90 years old. That's about 12 years more than we have in the United States. So we can't stop aging, if you didn't already know. Surprise, surprise. And as we age, our health will get worse. That's why 1 in every 5,000 Americans will live to be 100 years old. I mean, this makes it seem like you have to win the genetic lottery if you want to live that age. But you see, that's not the case. The Danish twin study showed that only 20% of how long we live is dictated by our genes. The other 80% is how we live. It's our lifestyle. But now, what kind of lifestyle do we live? I mean, what diet is the best diet? I mean, no diet in the history of mankind has worked for more than a tiny percentage of the population. What kind of exercise is the right exercise? Do I run a marathon? Do I swim? Do I do yoga? Do I lift weights? Do I walk? I mean, what is it? And that's why I think it's so important to study these blue zones and learn from them, because clearly they're doing something right. Now, we all do things to stay healthy, but the question is, why? Do we do it to lose weight? Do we do it to have a nicer body, that beach body? Or do we do it to live longer and disease-free? Whatever the reason is for you, for me, the reason is the last one, to live longer and to live as disease-free as possible. I mean, I think it's at least part of the reason why everyone tries to stay healthy, right? There's no magic pill or short-term fix to living healthier and longer. But there are things that we can all do to add more life to our years and more years to our life. So let's learn from these blue zones and find out what they are tomorrow. Friends, welcome back to Supercharged with Dr. V. This week we are talking about blue zones. Blue zones are places in the world where a large number of people live to be 100 years old. So today we're going to look at 5 places in this world that are designated as blue zones to see what we can learn from them. So let's get to it. Our first place is Sardinia. Located off the coast of Italy, the island of Sardinia houses the longest living men in the world. Sardinian men are shepherds, so they walk a minimum of 5 miles a day in the mountainous areas. Their diet is mainly plant-based, and so they have garden vegetables, fruits, whole grain bread, legumes, and meat is only eaten on Sundays or special occasions. And another interesting thing that they do is that they moderately and regularly drink wine. Now, their wine is very different from the one that you probably know. Their Cannonau wine has 2 to 3 times more flavonoids than the ones that you've probably seen. And flavonoids are responsible for scrubbing our arteries clean. In addition to their diet, there's another secret to success that helps them live really long, and that is respect for elders. They respect their elders so much that the elders always live with the family so that they are cared for and that they care for other family members. It actually is one of the reasons why infant mortality is very low in those areas, because the elders are there to give the emotional and social support that is needed for babies to thrive. All right, number 2, let's move to the other side of the world, Okinawa, Japan. 800 miles south of Tokyo is home to the longest living women. The social circle is one of the many keys to success to longevity here. There's an Okinawan tradition called Mawai, and that is a social circle that you are committed to the day you turn 5 years old. Dan Buettner, the man behind Blue Zones, went to Okinawa and visited a Mawai, where these women have been friends for 97 years. Their average age is 102 years old. And so these women literally become best friends for life. Literally till they're 100 years old. I mean, these women are there for each other during the best and the worst times. They're always there to offer emotional, mental, and even financial support in times of need. These women meet every day to talk about how life is going and to even gossip. The men also get together to drink and gossip. And if one of them doesn't show up, the other four walk across town to go find him and see what he's up to. Another thing that leads to their longevity is an old Confucian mantra that says hara hachi bu, which reminds them to stop eating when they're 80% full so that they don't overeat. And my next one is my favorite. There's no word in their language for the word retirement. There's only the word ikigai, which means the reason I wake up every morning. How beautiful is this? It gives people a sense of purpose even after they retire. They say the two riskiest days of your life are the day that you're born because of infant mortality and the day that you retire, because it's such a big, stressful event for so many people. And to keep their purpose going, ikigai. And number 3 on our list is my home country of the United States, Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda makes the list because of Seventh-day Adventists. These people outlive the average American by 10 extra years. And the coolest thing is that they are a heterogeneous population. So there's blacks, whites, Hispanics, and Asian people. They take their diet directly from the Bible, which includes leafy greens, everyone's favorite, nuts, and legumes. And they also observe Sabbath, which is 24 hours a week. They take time to downshift and focus on God, no matter how busy they are. And this kind of lifestyle really pays off. A lot of these Seventh-day Adventists are really active at an old age. For example, there's this 95-year-old man who wanted to build a fence around his yard for privacy purposes. And so when he asked the contractor, hey, how much will this cost? He said $6,000. And the 95-year-old guy goes, for that kind of money, I'll just do it myself. And so he starts building this fence, and 3 days later, he ends up in the hospital. But not on the OR table, but as the surgeon doing open heart surgery. That's right, at 95 years old, this guy is doing 20 open heart surgeries a month. He's 95. That's crazy. And then there's another lady who's 105 years old. She wakes up at 5:30 every morning, she reads the Bible, and then makes herself a nice breakfast, which includes slow-cooked oatmeal, dates, nuts, and prune juice. Then she hops on her stationary bicycle for 30 minutes and then hops into her Cadillac and drives herself to volunteer at 7 different organizations at 105. And just like the other communities that we've seen around the world, the Seventh-day Adventists are also very community-centric. They have nature walks where they get to spend time with their families and friends to check in on each other and offer their support. Number 4, the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. Nicoyans spend about 15% of what the United States does on healthcare, and they're twice as likely to live to age 90. They also emphasize faith and family, and they have a mantra that is similar to the ones that the Okinawans have. Their mantra is Plan de Vida, or the plan of life. It's their reason to live, their reason to get out of bed every morning. And this helps the elders maintain an active lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, and have the right outlook in life. Nicoyans eat little to no processed foods. I know, that one hurts deep. But they also eat a lot of tropical fruits that are high in antioxidants. And they also drink magic water, which is water that's high in calcium and magnesium, which is heart and bone healthy. Wait, that's my muscle. But bones. You get what I'm saying. And number 5, Ikaria, Greece. Ikaria is a tiny island in Greece where people live on average 8 years longer than the American. And they also live disease-free longer. For example, they have 20% less cancer, 50% less heart disease, and almost no dementia. Icarians eat a variation of the Mediterranean diet, and they also take a mid-afternoon nap, like a siesta. But not a siesta, because this is Greece. You get the point. And that's all the traveling that we're doing today, folks. There's so much to learn from these blue zones, and it's so amazing to see that despite being in different parts of the world, speaking different languages, different ethnicities, and different faiths, that they all share common things that they do to live their life, to live longer and healthier. And to simplify these lessons, we're going to be talking about what Dan Buettner calls the Power 9 tomorrow. Stay tuned. Everyone, welcome back to Supercharged with Dr. V. Yesterday, we visited 5 blue zones of the world to see what we could learn from people who are living to the age 100. There were so many cool and inspirational stories that it supercharged me up, and I want to be just like them. So today, let's look at the Power 9, or 9 things that are common across all these blue zones that help them live longer and healthier. And while we're going through these, see what you can adopt into your lifestyle as well. So let's dive right in. Alright, so number 1, move naturally. The world's longest lived people don't run marathons or join gyms. Instead, they live in environments that constantly nudge them into moving without thinking about it. In other words, they do non-intentional exercise. The only intentional exercise they do is walking and gardening. And they don't have mechanical conveniences for house and yard work. Things that we can do are not take the elevators and always take the stairs. We can walk or use our bikes to get to nearby places. Number 2, purpose. The Okinawans call it ikigai and the Nicoyans call it plan de vida. For both, it translates to why I wake up in the morning. Knowing your sense of purpose is worth up to 7 years of extra life expectancy. For some, it's taking care of their family, and for others, it's living for something higher than yourself. Whatever it is, find your purpose and start with your why. Number 3, downshift. Even people in blue zones experience stress. Stress leads to chronic inflammation associated with every major age-related disease. Now, what the world's longest lived people have are daily routines to shred that stress. Okinawans take a few moments each day to remember their ancestors. Adventists pray every day and observe Sabbath once a week. Icarians take a nap every day, and Sardinians do happy hour. Emphasis on daily routine, guys. They don't wait for stress to build and then do something about it. They prevent stress. Something to think about. Number 4, the 80% rule. Yesterday, we talked about Hara Hachibu, the Okinawan 2,500-year-old Confucian mantra that they say before meals to remind them to stop eating when their stomachs are 80% full. The 20% gap between not being hungry and feeling full could be the difference between losing weight or gaining it. People in the blue zones eat their smallest meal in the late afternoon or early morning, and then they don't eat any more the rest of the day. Other things that we can do to control our portions is to use smaller spoons, bowls, and plates to control how much we eat. Also, take the prepared food from the stove and bring it onto your plate to the table. Don't keep all the food that you prepared on the table so you have easy access to it. You'll end up eating more. Number 5, plants land. Beans, including fava, black, soy, and lentils, are the cornerstone of most centenarian diets. They're mostly plant-based, including other whole grains, minimally processed foods, fruits, and colorful vegetables. Meat is mostly pork and is eaten on average only 5 times per month, and those serving sizes are 3 to 4 ounces. That's tiny. That's about the size of a deck of cards. So barely any meat intake in their diets. Number 6, wine at 5. Of all the things listed in the Power 9, I put an asterisk on this one because only 4 out of the 5 blue zones do it. The Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda, California don't drink at all. Now, they've shown that moderate drinkers outlive non-drinkers, but there's a trick. The trick is to drink 1 to 2 glasses of wine per day, preferably Sardinian Conenau wine, with friends and or with food. And no, you can't save up all week and have 14 drinks on a Saturday. Number 7, belong. All but 5 of the 263 centenarians interviewed belong to some faith-based community. Now, the denomination doesn't seem to matter. Research shows that attending faith-based services 4 times per month will add 4 to 14 years of life expectancy. I don't know about you, but this sounds very similar to going to church, the mosque, temples, the mandir on Sundays. Number 8, loved ones first. Successful centenarians in blue zones put their families first. This means keeping aging parents and grandparents nearby or in the home, as it lowers disease and mortality rates of children in the home too. They commit to a life partner, which can add up to 3 years of life expectancy. And they invest in their children with time and love, because those children will be more likely to care for aging parents when the time comes. That's right, friends. The trick is not to kick your kids out of the house the moment they turn 18. And maybe living with your parents, even once you're older, isn't a bad thing after all. These are clearly community-centered societies, not individualistic ones. And the last one, number 9 of the Power 9, the right tribe. The world's longest lived people proactively choose or were born into social circles that support healthy behaviors. The Okinawans created Moais, or groups of 5 friends that committed to each other for life at the age of 5 years old. Research from the Framingham studies show that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. They say if 3 of your best friends are obese, there's a 50% more chance you'll be overweight. So, the social networks of long-lived people have favorably shaped their health behaviors. They say you are the company you keep, and that is so true. It can make or break your life without you even realizing it. So choose wisely, friends. And there you have it, friends, the Power 9. It still blows my mind at how many similarities there are between the lifestyles of people who live in completely different areas of the world. But what it comes down to is this: how practical is it to live that kind of lifestyle in 21st century America? Well, to answer this question, tomorrow we're going to take a look at some of the Blue Zone projects that Dan Buettner and his team conducted across America to implement the Power 9 into some of the unhealthiest cities across the country. Stay tuned. Everyone, welcome back to Supercharged with Dr. V. This week we've been talking about blue zones, and we've learned lessons on how to live healthier and longer. But today I want to bring it back to us. Because what's the point of talking about this if we can't apply it to our fast, modern American lives? And so today, I want to talk about how Dan Buettner and his Blue Zones team applied the Power 9 that we talked about yesterday to their first American city, Albert Lea, Minnesota, a small town of 9,000 people. In 2008, Albert Lea wanted to widen its main street and increase the speed limit. But instead, the Blue Zones team went in and convinced them to make a walking path around their lake. And now, that path is filled 11 months out of the year in Minnesota, which is probably freezing half the time. And they also built sidewalks and interconnected them so that if anyone wanted to go from their home to downtown, they could do so using this interconnected sidewalk system without having to walk through fields or busy intersections. Grocery stores and restaurants pledged to help people change the way they eat. Every restaurant was required to have 3 plant-based entrees in their menu. And when you ordered a sandwich, you didn't get a side of fries automatically. You automatically got a side of fruit. And by using adjectives other than healthy choice, people were more likely to actually make the healthier choice. Grocery stores created healthier checkout aisles so that instead of being bombarded by candy bars and soda at the checkout counter, you were greeted by fruit, healthy snacks, and water. Even schools joined the bandwagon and signed Blue Zone pledges. At fundraisers, candy wasn't offered. And when you got a good grade, you weren't rewarded with candy. I know, sucks. But there was a University of Minnesota study that showed that if students were prohibited from eating in the hallways and in the classrooms, that an average student's BMI would decrease by 11%. And so they instilled that policy as well. And that triggered a domino effect. Then 25% of the community pledged to take steps to live a healthier life. And a year and a half later, their average life expectancy increased by 3.2 years, and their healthcare costs decreased by 40%. After seeing the great results in Albert Lea, they decided to hit some bigger cities. So they went to the beach cities of Los Angeles. There, the rates of smoking went down by 30%, BMI by 14%, and childhood obesity by 50%. They even went to Fort Worth, Texas, which at that time was one of the unhealthiest cities in America. In their well-being rank, they were 185 out of 190. But after the Blue Zones team went in, they went from 185 all the way up to 58. And now the Blue Zones team is in 27 cities across America. As we can see, a lot of these changes are happening to create healthier environments for people to live in. And although the Blue Zones team may not be re-engineering your city, let's take that upon ourselves. We don't have to re-engineer our entire city, but let's re-engineer our homes, our neighborhoods, and the places that we spend a lot of time in so that we can mindlessly live healthier. I want you, yes you, to plan out your environment and to take these lessons from Blue Zones to apply it to your modern, busy lifestyle. And if you need motivation, go on bluezones.com and take their longevity quiz. I mean, I took mine and I was pretty surprised with the results. It was pretty eye-opening because it even gave me customized recommendations on how I can live healthier based off of the variables that they studied. I don't know about you, but I certainly enjoyed studying these Blue Zones. I'm definitely going to be making some more conscious lifestyle changes and sustainable changes, not short-term ones that are going to die out in the next 2 months. And that's a wrap for Supercharging this week, folks. If there's any topic that you want me to cover in the coming weeks, let me know. As always, I'm going to be compiling all of these video clips into one big end of the week Blue Zones video tomorrow, so stay tuned. Next week, we're going to shift gears and I'm going to be talking about the lessons that I learned in medical school. So stay safe, stay sane, and see you next week.